Hey, good morning. Welcome back. Hobby Evolution is back. Welcome to a Monday. Good coffee. I'm back to my regularly scheduled programming and coffee. So let me tell you a little something about my coffee experience this weekend. I'm at mom's house. Now, my mom still lives in the house I grew up in for most of my life. I think we moved into the house when I was like 6 years old, maybe. So the house is when did we move in? So 35. It's been 35 years, probably 35 years that my mom's lived there. So when you live somewhere for 35 years, you have stuff that's probably 35 years old. I've only lived in this house for 7 years, 6.5, 7 years. There are, I think, 3 cans of Miller Lite, because I hate Miller Lite, in my beer fridge down here in the basement that have been here since the summer of 2017. So it's like, I don't know, you just leave it there. I probably have stuff in the freezer that's been here since we moved in 2016. So I can't talk down on mom for keeping stuff around. So here's what happened. My mom doesn't use coffee creamer. I think she does a little sugar in her coffee. So whenever I come home, it's like she has to get like coffee creamer. And I'm not home that much, so she's not going through much coffee creamer because she doesn't use it. So it was Saturday morning, and she's like, "Do you want some coffees?" Yeah. And she brings it up. I'm like, wow, that was fast. It takes my coffee maker an hour to brew a pot of coffee. And she's like, oh, these are pods. I'm like, oh, okay. See, I'm complaining about how long it takes for my coffee maker, but if I get a Keurig, but I like to drink a pot of coffee. So I'd have to make like 3 or 4 of those pods, which actually, after experiencing, and my mom's had a Keurig for a while. I don't know. For some reason, I noticed it more this weekend. So I'm like, all right. So I go get my cup of coffee. And she has a bottle of creamer on the counter. I look at it, and I know my mom with coffee creamer. She doesn't use it, and I'm like, when was the last time I drank coffee here? Because a lot of times I don't drink coffee when I'm back home. So I'm like, how old is this? And she's like, oh, it's not that old. I think I got it last time you were here. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So I look, and it had an expiration date. It expired in 2018. It's only been expired for 5 years. I said, Mom, I'm not going to use this. My wife's the same way. Not to that level, although we've only lived here 6 years. So we haven't had the opportunity to build up a lot of 5-year-old outdated stuff. But my wife had like some string cheese, which we give the dog. And she's like, do you want the rest of the string cheese? And I'm like, no, I think it's old. She's like, it's not old. Don't let my wife hear me mocking her like that. And I'm like, I think it's old. And I'm like, go look at the wrapper. She looks, and then all of a sudden she gets that look, like the I was wrong look. She doesn't get that look a lot. That's on me. But she got that look, and I knew the string cheese was outdated. And but it was only outdated like a month. It's like, it's only a month old. It's fine. And it probably is, with all the like preservatives and processed cheese. I'm sure it's processed. I'm not going to take my chances on it. I don't want it. You're just giving it to me because the dog doesn't want it. That's backwards. I get the dog's leftovers. But that's what happens. Our dog hates eating. For some reason, she loves cheese. She loves beef jerky. She's me in a dog. So yeah, that's my coffee. Had a nostalgic weekend. We're going to talk about that. All the fun we had, the tornadoes we experienced, antique mall. I found some stuff. I guess what? Brought some stuff home. Don't tell my wife. When I told my wife we went to the antique mall, we talked on Saturday night. Our house sold. Oh, hey, the house sold. I'm burying the lead. The house sold. So we were going through offers on Saturday night. And my wife says, so what did you do today? I'm like, well, we went to the antique mall, a couple of antique malls. You didn't buy a bunch of crap, did you? No, I didn't. I bought 6 WWE magazines. They were $2 a pop. I figure, and here's my thought with WWE magazines. I will read them, and then I'll put them on eBay for $10. And it's after shipping and fees, it's a net of like $4 minus the $2, so I'm making like $2. If they even sell at 10. So that was the plan. It's like, hey, I'll read these and I'll throw them on eBay. And I want to talk about, I better write some of this down. Write it down. Where's Brian? I got to write this stuff down. Because I want to talk about, and I was going to do a video. I was actually going to go live last night with a video on this, on a topic about the antique mall. And then I just said, kind of like we were going to go live with Mom on Saturday night. That didn't happen, obviously. I'm just writing all this down. Oh, and so much happened that I want to share. And that Sunday, I don't think I did anything. Sunday, I just woke up, watched a movie, and went home. So where was I? Where am I at? About the antique mall. I wanted to share, it's basically staying in your lane and why it was a wise choice that I didn't just take a gamble on some things that I thought were really good deals at the antique mall, which in turn were not good deals. They were fair priced, but for a reseller, I would have lost money. So I want to share that. And it kind of goes along with staying in your lane, which I thought I'd get cute and try something different while I was at the antique mall. Had money. I had Kyle's money burning a hole in my pocket. Kyle and I met at the card shop in Freeport. He's with us this morning. I'll talk about that. Actually, that's a good thing about staying in my lane. He wanted my NASCAR cards, and I'm like, instead of like shipping these in flat rate boxes, I can just put them as is in the back of my car. Boom, meet up with Kyle. Nice transaction on Friday on my way home. Terry, good morning. What's happening? Boston Smoke in the house. We've got Ed. There's Kyle. Todd, good morning. Victor, what's happening? Tough weekend for the Cubs. I want to talk about that. I'll save that for last. I want to talk about Iowa, the national championship game. And you're thinking, why are you watching NCAA women's tournament championship game? Which normally I wouldn't watch, but I grew up an Iowa Hawkeyes fan. I was in Annawan, where there's a lot of Iowa Hawkeyes fans. So I was just kind of like, why I'm a Wisconsin fan today. You're just consumed by it. So I was being back, 30 minutes away from the Iowa border. We're an hour and a half from Iowa City. People are like, why were you an Iowa fan growing up? You're in Illinois. It's like, well, I grew up an hour and a half from Iowa City. I grew up 3.5 hours from the University of Illinois in Champaign. KWQC TV6, they care for you. Channel 6, the NBC affiliate in the Quad Cities, guess what they carried? Iowa Hawkeyes. So that's why I was an Iowa Hawkeye. Just because I lived in Illinois didn't mean I had to be an Illini fan. So when I was back home, a lot of Iowa fans being so close, you're consumed by it. So I was consumed by the excitement that the Iowa Hawkeyes were playing for a national championship in basketball. And kind of like when I moved to Madison, I didn't really like, I grew up a fan of Iowa, but in the years after I moved from Annawan down to Macomb, Iowa, I was further away from Iowa. It wasn't on TV anymore. So I rooted for Iowa. I wasn't a fan anymore. I just rooted for them. So I was an orphaned college fan. You know, I root for my Leathernecks, but they're low major Division I in basketball, and they are FCS in football. So I didn't have like a Big Ten school. So I was consumed by the Badgers when I moved to Madison, hence being now a Wisconsin fan. Let's see. Victor. So we're going to talk about the Cubs. Christian, good morning. Hall of Fame card collector in the house. Good morning. I missed Hobby Evolution. Me too. It felt weird. It's like, man, I should, like, Sunday morning, I woke up and it was like normal wake up time for me around 8 o'clock. I woke up 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I just, what am I going to do? It's like, man, I should just do a live Hobby Evolution. Let's see. Dan, what's happening? Good morning, all. What did your mom say about you playing video games? Well, I didn't play any video games at home because I didn't have any video game consoles. I sold or threw away my Sega. I didn't even know I had those old Sega games. So let's just talk about that. So it was yesterday, right before I left. My mom had, well, first off, there was, so my nephew ran a sports bar in Kewanee. And so when he, I think it was like his 1 year anniversary, I was leaving Macomb, Western Illinois, and I worked in the athletics department. So I'm like, I wanted to get him something for the sports bar, Western related, because Kewanee and Macomb are, an hour and a half away from each other. So it's pretty close. A lot of people there went to Western, fans of Western, all that. So talked with my friends in the equipment office, and I said, hey, my nephew has a sports bar, and I want to get a football jersey framed for him to put in the bar. Can you hook me up? Can you hook me up with an old football jersey? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. So got a Western football jersey, and at the time there was a framing shop on the square in Macomb. I think it went out of business like not long after. But it was really nice, and I have a picture. I can share it. I can share it on the Hobby Evolution Facebook page. By the way, I think we're just shy of 100 members in the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. So check that out. I'll share the photo of the Western framed jersey. I don't think I tweeted it. So I gave it to my nephew, put it up in the bar, and my nephew decided to get out of the bar business and move. Him and his girlfriend, now fiance, moved to Mississippi. I've never heard of anybody moving to Mississippi. I mean, I'm from Illinois, upper Midwest. So but they moved down to, where are they at? They're down on the coast. I can't remember, Gulfport, maybe somewhere down on the Gulf. So, so he sold his part out, and he's like, I want Bo to have his jersey back. And it's like, shit, what am I going to do with this? Because it doesn't fit my, I've got Cubs, Badgers. This kind of goes with what I'm telling my mom. My mom, oh my gosh, we got to talk about moms. My mom actually went to school right out of high school in college for interior decorating back in the 70s. And you would not want her decorating your house. She knows that. She just decorates with things she likes, whether they match or not, and they don't match. So that's why I don't want to, it's like Western doesn't match. What am I going to do with it? So I have this giant framed jersey that is still in the back of my car. My wife's going to be like, what in the hell is that? It's also like they bolted it to the wall. So it's like the frame's kind of ruined. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it. At first I thought, well, maybe I can put it on a wall in my new office in the new house. But it's like, But it's like, I didn't play football. I worked in the athletic office. I guess it's a representation of my career. So I don't know. I'll get some opinions on it. So I'll share the photo of the frame jersey. It's a frame jersey. So video games. So along with the frame jersey, my mom had this like it's like a file folder, one of those where you can put hanging folders in. For some reason, I had one of those. I think it was from my radio career. And it's one of those things. It's like, I don't want this. So you dump it off at mom's house. It's like, I don't want this cluttering my house. So we're going to have it clutter mom's house. And that's why she brings boxes of crap to my house. And then, like, if I'm at my mom's house and I'm like, no, you can't throw that away. So it clutters my mom's house. But if she brings it to my house, I'm like, I don't want this crap. So I throw it away. So if she wants to like get rid of stuff, she knows that I'll throw it away. So she had this, this is like a hanging folder box that I had. But there was a bunch of like just stuff in there. I assumed it was just like folders, like file folders from when I worked in radio, for whatever reason, are still in there. So I just kind of ignored it all weekend. And then finally, before I left, she reminds me, hey, don't forget to go through this. I thought you would forget. So I look through this box. I open it up, and right on top are Sega games. And I'm like, what? Including the game that I've talked about a lot here on Hobby Evolution. Because when I was, let's see, it's NBA Live 97. So it would have been, was I in high school? No. NBA Live 97. I might have been in 8th grade. I'm trying to think. So 97. So the 96-97 NBA season, I would have been a freshman in high school, right? Yeah. So 95-96 would have been my 8th grade year. Yeah, because I graduated 8th grade in 1996. So maybe I was a freshman in high school when NBA Live 97 came out. Yeah, because it probably came out during the winter of 96, which would have been my freshman year. Anyway, what happened, if you're new to the story, my mom was in this phase of using gift boxes instead of wrapping. And she would just tape 4 sides of the box. She probably thought, as a freshman in high school, her shithead son wouldn't try to sneak a peek at his Christmas presents, which most freshmen in high school shouldn't be doing that. But I was a shithead, and I did that. She went above and beyond. She had this gift box, and she put NBA Live 97 in it. But to deter me, she wrapped it in like a sweater. You know, those Christmas sweaters you get when you were in junior high and high school. We call them ugly Christmas sweaters today, but they weren't ugly 25 years ago. So she wrapped it in the sweater to throw me off. But I was undeterred, and I found it. And I took a little box cutter, just like my little Car Dealer Pro box cutter. Snip, snip, snip. Open it up. Because like I shook it and I could hear like it's pretty heavy for a sweater. Oh, shake it and it's you can feel it thumping. There's something in there. That's a Sega game. And there it is, NBA Live 97. Guess what? I snuck it out of the box. I knew my mom wasn't going to be like spot checking the Christmas presents under the tree. I was spending the night at my friend Luke's house. And I'm like, Luke, I've got NBA Live 97 on Sega. So I smuggled it out and took it to Luke's house, and we played it till 4 a.m., drinking Mountain Dew, eating pizza like we did in 9th grade, 8th grade. And got home Saturday or Sunday, snuck it back in, little tape back up, Boom. Didn't even know. But I am an honest person. I told Mom on Christmas morning, I'm like, guess what? I found this 2 weeks ago. I took it over to Luke's. We played it. And she's like, So that game, NBA Live 97, I even hooked my Sega back up last night to play. I only played a half. It's like, I'm glad I didn't spend much money on a Sega in Sega games because I like, thank you to Nuke, who I now have a Sega. And it's fun. Because if I didn't have the Sega, I would be like, oh, I want a Sega. Now that I have one and I can play these games, and I also have Madden 98. Madden 98 was the other Sega game, and Lethal Enforcers, which I remember, I think it came with a gun, but the gun's long gone. That game too. So I'm like, I'll bring it just to see if I can play it. So yeah, I put in NBA Live 97. I was really hoping that some of my created you could create players. And I remember creating I was in 8th grade. I was in 8th grade when this came out. It must have came out a year before. Now I remember because I didn't play basketball my freshman year in high school. For some reason I took my freshman year off and I played my sophomore year. But I played 8th grade and in junior I took 7th grade off too. I guess I could only handle organized basketball every other year. I played 6th grade basketball. I skipped 7th grade. I played 8th grade. I skipped 9th grade. I played sophomore, and then I did non-sports my junior and senior year because A, I sucked, and B, I discovered partying, and that was, to me, more fun than playing organized sports. So it was in 8th grade because I remember creating my 8th grade team on NBA Live 97. And I also created the Iowa Hawkeyes. Because remember, I was an Iowa Hawkeyes fan. Dean Oliver, Jess Settles, Joey Range. Joey Range didn't really play much, but he was from kind of the area, Galesburg. So I didn't, Dan, I did not play video games. So it wasn't really a big point. I'm just like, oh, wow, I didn't know these Sega games were in here. So what else was in? Oh, there was some mixed CDs. Pearl Jam Live from Assembly Hall, Champaign. It's no longer called Assembly Hall, but that's a concert. My first Pearl Jam concert I went to back in like 02 or 03. It was during their bootleg series, which I had the bootleg CD that I bought, and then I lost it or something. I can't remember what happened to it, but I have a burned CD of it. So I brought that. I should have put it in I have a CD player in my car, but I was listening to the Cubs game on the drive home yesterday. Let's see. Terry says you were right about eBay authentication. My card was only at the authenticator for a day. Yeah, it's like in out, man. It just, the only extra time is the extra shipping from to and fro. Chris, what's happening? Sounds delicious. The 5-year-old coffee creamer. Good morning, Sal Dougie in the house. Good morning. Is this the Twins year? Jenny asks. I don't know. I am like uber focused on the Cubs, which annoys the crap out of me when I go to Twitter and it's 3 games now into the season and people are like, oh my God, we have better players in Iowa AAA. The same people were bitching in December that the Cubs weren't making enough moves. They had too many holes to fill. The holes that were needed to fill in December are the guys that are playing in Iowa right now. Why were they not good enough in December? Because now they're, we have Cubs fans piss me off sometimes. And I am one. Maybe I'm too optimistic. I let out my bold predictions yesterday, which I've shared here. 84 wins for the Cubs, which I think is going to be just enough. It's going to be very close. Just enough to get a second wild card spot in the National League. Wilson Contreras, the loss of Wilson Contreras will be addition by subtraction because I think it's going to make the pitching. I think the pitching staff will be way better than what they have been. And 3, kind of on the same par, Justin Steele will be a top 3 National League Cy Young candidate. Or not candidate, but he'll be in the top 3 for the Cy Young in the National League. Mark Marinello, what's up? Good morning. Good start for the Metsies. Herman, 5 days until he gets to meet Dale Murphy. Very cool. Thank you, Kyle. Yes. Thank you, Todd. Yes, we sold the house. We got 4 offers came in. A couple other offers didn't write because they weren't going to be competitive. A couple others wanted earlier move-in dates, which that's not happening. So we got a really good deal, a really good offer that we accepted. So I can sit on furniture. I can be slightly messy. Don't have to keep the house immaculate. So that stress is off my back. Let's see. Card Hobbyist, what's happening? Good morning. And it was so fun putting that sold sign. My wife, I got home yesterday. My wife's like, "Do you want to put the sold sign up?" Yes, I do. So the sold sign is on the sign out front. Thank you, Jenny. Now the real fun starts. Yeah, I know. The real fun. And I can sit on the bed. Yes. Yeah. And the funny, I was so overly cautious of sitting on furniture. I think it was it Friday? No, maybe it was this morning. Was it yesterday? Maybe it was today. I almost didn't sit on the bed to put my socks on. And I'm like, oh, wait, I can sit on the bed to put my socks on and not worry about messing up the bed. I can't remember what I was saying. But yeah. Oh, the move. So yeah, as soon as I think this week for the new house, this week we've got, let's see. I think we have HVAC finishing up. I think they finish up today. Then the inspector comes. So the inspector will come check things out. And then we can start putting it back together. Well, after the inspector, then it's insulation. So we're sucking insulation out, putting new insulation in. And I think that's going to basically take up the entire week. And then next week, we can start building it back up. And I think next week drywall begins. And I think drywall begins in the basement. So hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll be able to start moving some stuff in. I wanted to wait until after, the basement was pretty much drywalled in. I can start moving stuff into the unfinished area because HVAC, electrical, plumbing, that's all in. And once drywall goes up, then I can start moving stuff into the unfinished storage, which will be the big card room that'll kind of look like this. So then I can start, moving some stuff in. I think I'm just going to move my Cubs collection in first. Probably the commons. I'm going to keep the good stuff here, but the commons and stuff, I'll start moving over there just to get them out of the way. Let's see. Michael Renicky, what's happening? Good morning. Speaking of Michael Renicky, he's a dealer at the Madison Card Show. Madison Card Show is, we're still 3 weeks out yet, April 29th, but I think I'm sold out, which if I am, would be the earliest I've ever sold out before a show. 3 weeks before the show. I've never sold out this soon. I've got a ton of new dealers. Let's see. I've got Brian back. It's been a couple months for him. Matt's back. This is only his second show. Aaron's back. It's been several months for him. Let's see. Samantha's back. It's only her second show. Let's see. Christopher, his first show. Shong's back. It's been several months for him. Joe is a first-time dealer. Greg, it's been several months for him. Benji, it's been several months for him. Let's see. Mark, it's been several months for him. Randy, it's been several months for him. Adam is a first-time dealer. Tyler is a first-time dealer. Dustin is a first-time dealer. Chris, he's back for the first time in almost a year. Chris is back for the first time in several months. Douglas is back for the first time in almost a year. Josh is back for the first time in almost a year. And, of course, a lot of the regulars are back after missing out last month due to the Chicago show. So it's going to be a sold out show. I am setting up. I'm taking 3 tables and I'm setting up my bargain boxes. So I'll be in the same spot this month. And my buddy Mark will be next to me. So looking forward to the Madison Card Show, April 29th. Other card show notes next Saturday, or this coming Saturday, I'll be at the Rockford Show. So I will be set up this Saturday at the Rockford Card Show. The following weekend, I won't have any shows. And then the following weekend, Sunday, April 23rd, I'll be set up at the Janesville Card Show. And then April 29th, I'll be set up. So a 3-show month for me, April 29th, Madison. So 3-show month. And May is the big Midwest premiere. I'll be set up there, the 2-day show in Rockford in Loves Park. I'll be set up there, and then I'll probably set up again in Madison at the end of the month, which coincides with our favorite weekend of the year in Madison, Bratfest. The concert lineup's kind of weak at Bratfest. But the brats are always good. Royals 417 in the house. What's happening? Christian, good morning. I think I already said good morning to you. Picked up a super rare Cecil Fielder. Good weekend. Very nice. Good morning, Talking Tatis. That reminds me, what's going on in the NCAA tournament? So I think we're down to 2 people that can win the Hobby Evolution Bracket Challenge. The NCAA Tournament Championship is tonight. UConn, and who's UConn playing? San Diego State. So right now, we are all tied up for first place. And again, a hobby box. Let me get it down. I'll have to ship this tomorrow. So somebody's going to win this hobby box of 2023 Top Series 1, and it's going to be between Paul, the flipping sports guy, or Zach Erickson. They are tied with 76 points each. If UConn wins, Paul, flipping sports guy, wins the hobby box. If UConn loses, it goes down to the tiebreaker. So in the tiebreaker, I think Paul has 149 points. Zach has 122 points for the tiebreaker within the bracket challenge. I'm not sure. We'll let CBS Sportsline figure that out. And then I think if it goes past that, maybe I don't know what CBS Sportsline tiebreakers are. I wonder if I can look into the settings. Let's see. Tiebreaker, championship games, total score. So that's the tiebreaker. So I guess there's no other tiebreaker. And since they're so far, 149, 122, I think it's going to be pretty easy to figure out who wins. So Paul or Zach will win the hobby box, and we'll find out tonight when UConn plays San Diego State in the NCAA Tournament Championship game. Speaking of championships, how about yesterday, Iowa and LSU? So I watched the Final Four game on Friday. Oh boy, was this fun. So I met up with not Zach. I met up with Kyle in Freeport at the Jennings Card Shop downtown Freeport, and Kyle was picking up some NASCAR cards and at the card shop and from me. So while he was looking through his cards, there was a 50-cent box right in front of me. I bought 10 cards. Didn't pick up anything. I only looked through like 3 rows of the box. Didn't find too much. But I found 3 Cubs and 7 other cards that hopefully I'll break even and it'll pay for the Cubs that I bought. And then I sold Kyle a bunch of NASCAR. I had 2 big 5-row box, a 4-row box, like a dozen binders, and a big plaque. So we made that deal. And then I hit up Annawan. My mom on Fridays, it's like ladies' night at the local tavern. She meets up with some friends. But we had like tornadoes in the forecast. In fact, I've never heard of this before. Schools were canceling early because of potential tornadoes. I've never heard of that before. Never heard of. Businesses were closing. When we get a foot of snow, businesses close. That's logical. Severe thunderstorms severe thunderstorms and potential tornadoes are pretty common. Even in Illinois, where it's not like Tornado Alley, it's pretty common. I've never heard of. So the other bar, there's like 2 bars in Annawan. The other bar closed. So that's a bar restaurant, and then there's a restaurant. The restaurant also closed early. So we have 2 bars and 2 restaurants. 1 bar and 2 restaurants were closed. But our Old Faithful, the bar we go to, of course, was open. It was my mom's like, man, there's nobody in here. The first wave of severe weather had gone through, didn't really hit. We got some rain. That was it. Rained hard. That was about it. But the tornadoes came through later. So we were at the bar, and it was just it was my mom and I, one other person, and the bartender. Everybody else had left. They probably saw the naders coming. So we had walked to the bar. It's only 2 blocks. So I told my mom, I'm like, we either need to leave now or we're going to be stuck here for probably a couple hours because it's going to rain for a while, and nobody's here to give us a ride home. So, and we don't have Uber in Annawan. So we took off, and friend that lives across the street, like the halfway point, 1 block away, was watching the storm, walking down. Man, I wish I would have taken video because it was like Midwest severe thunderstorms. Everybody's out on their driveway with a bush light looking at the skies. That's what you do when storms roll in. You go outside and you watch it. It's what you do in a small town. So like every other house, people are out. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? It's like a parade. So neighbor across the street was out. So we talked to him. That's usually actually, if his garage door is open, I know he's out watching the Cubs game. So in the summer, I stop at his place before my mom's, and my mom's like, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just I'm across the street. So all of a sudden the storm rolled in. I tweeted the video of the clouds just rolling in, and all of a sudden it just, and it rained hard. We had 2 tornadoes, but they split. One went north and one went south. So Kewaunee, the north side of Kewaunee, about 10 miles south, got hit with a tornado. And then there was a tornado that it hit the west side of Geneseo and kind of went northeast and hit Hoop Hole, which is a small town. Hoop Hole kids go to Annawan schools. It's about 10 miles north. So one tornado went 10 miles north, one went 10 miles south, and we just got nasty looking clouds and a whole bunch of rain. So we hung out there, and he goes, hey, I've got some old cards I want you to take a look at. And he brings out this cigar box, and they're just old beat up 60s and 70s cards. Buddy had mostly 60s. He had a second year Nolan Ryan, second year Tom Seaver. But they were just in beat up shape. And I'm like, these might be worth more than you think, or some of them might be worth less, because like the commons are like dime quarter cards. But the Seaver and the Ryan, like in those conditions, probably $30 to $40 based on kind of what I looked on eBay. I thought some of them might be worth a little more. There were some other like oddball stuff that there's like an old butt kiss, and what else? There were 4 cards that I saw that were decent, but again, like $30, $40 max. But it was fun. It was fun to go through and look at the old stuff. So that was so that was Friday. So we were watching the Iowa South Carolina game at the bar, and then the storm rolled in. So then we finished it at Boo's house. Boo is his nickname. So then the championship game, 2:30 on a Sunday afternoon. So I came home and I turned it on. I watched the first half, and I'm like, it was like a 15-point game at halftime. I'm like, oh crap. So I didn't see like the shenanigans, especially at the post game, until I start, Twitter's like, oh, up in arms. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. So I saw that, and my first reaction with Angel Reese was, what the hell? Like it's not classy. It's classless. That's classless. It is taunting what she did. So basically what Angel Reese of LSU did was at the end of the game, I think there was still like 10 seconds left in the game, but LSU was going to win. And so she starts like she chases Caitlin, and I say chase, she follows is a better term to use. She follows Caitlin Clark around doing this. And like Caitlin Clark is like doing her best to avoid Angel Reese while she's doing this, and Angel Reese like follows her. Like, and then Caitlin Clark's like, okay, I'm gonna avoid this. I don't want confrontation. And Angel Reese right behind, and then ring. And it's like, okay. My first thought was, oh, that's BS. That's that's just a shitty, poor winner type of thing. And then people are like, oh, but it was okay when Caitlin Clark did it. So Caitlin Clark, I guess, was it Friday against South Carolina? I don't know, but Caitlin Clark did this. You can't see me. And I'm like, okay, I need some context. That was the like Caitlin, and she didn't do it in somebody's face. She didn't like go up to an opponent and go. She didn't follow an opponent around. So I'm like, I wanted to share my thoughts, and I'm like, you know what? I know where this is going to go. And I didn't want to speak on it or share my opinion because Caitlin Clark is white, Angel Reese is black. And I knew that that's where we were going to go. That's where it was going to go with, some people. And it's like, I was on the defense of Caitlin Clark because I'm an Iowa fan. I was yesterday. I think I was annoyed by some of the calls in the game. And I think that's where, a lot of the emotions, you're pissed off. You're not getting, I mean, look at, it was crazy. And I grew up in that area. So there were I have a lot of Iowa fans on my Facebook feed, Twitter, and all that. And so I saw a lot of the referees and blah, 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 blah. So I think you're a little emotionally charged. You're already ticked off. You're fighting off the refs. And now this happens at the end. So I didn't want to share my thoughts on it because I wanted to think it through, and I didn't know like the full. And here's the thing, some people are like, "Oh, you're all up in arms, and you've never watched a game this year," and I haven't. I think Dan posted on Twitter. Did anybody know who Angel Reese was before yesterday? I didn't. And guess what? I was rooting for Iowa. Even now, I watched yesterday's game, the first half of yesterday's game. Guess how many players I can name on the Iowa women's basketball team? 1, Caitlin Clark. And now I can name Angel Reese because of what happened at the end of the game. Do I think what Angel Reese did was like this terrible, awful? It's the heat of the moment. I think yesterday I was a little more wound up. At the end of the day, if Caitlin Clark did the same thing, I would have had the same opinion. It's classless and it's taunting. What she did, and I'm not defending Caitlin Clark's, you can't see me, but what Angel Reese did was that times 10. Because Caitlin Clark did that like briefly for 3 seconds. Angel Reese did that and then followed and like was taunting and like following. And that's the problem. And it doesn't matter if Caitlin Clark, if somebody from Iowa did the same thing, I'd be like, that's a bad look. That's not good. I would say the same thing. Angel Reese, LSU, that's not good. That's a bad look. That's classless. One of my least favorite players of all time suited up for the Wisconsin Badgers. Brad Davison. Freaking hate that player. I don't know him as a person, so I can't say I hate him. But I hated him when he played basketball. And I'm a Wisconsin Badger fan. He's like the poor man's Grayson Allen. He was an annoying little shit on the basketball court. I'm sure he's a great great kid outside. But when he got into that uniform and he got on that court, he was a little shithead. Angel Reese was not good. And I think if the roles were reversed, if that was Caitlin Clark pulling that, I would have the same thoughts. And then I think maybe not. Maybe I would defend Caitlin Clark if she was doing that because I was rooting for Iowa. Maybe if I was an LSU fan, I wouldn't think much of it. And if I had no rooting interest, I probably wouldn't even be talking about this. I wouldn't even know. If it was South Carolina versus LSU, I wouldn't even care. But since I did have a rooting interest in Iowa, I did want to share that. That's my thoughts. I would be curious what your thoughts are, because I do like to hear, and I get, and I don't want to just sidestep the, I do and I don't, some of the underlying things, but I don't know. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on that. So we talked about that. We're going to talk about the Cubs. Did I talk about Mom's Decor? Oh, I haven't. Let's talk about Mom's Decor. It's like shit on Mom Day. Let's get caught up into the chat. Harlan, good morning. Paul Heath, good morning. TD Sports Cards, Card Hobbyist. They were still ugly 25 years ago. Gosh, what was that? 25 years ago. 1, 2, 3, ABC. Good morning. Cooter's in the house, by the way. Happy belated birthday to Cooter. Cooter turned 75 yesterday. Happy birthday, Cooter. Flawed Thinker went to the Chantilly show over the weekend. Got to meet Chris Sewall. Was able to get him to sign my 1992 Cal Ripken Jr. Beckett Annual. It was his first autograph. Such a nice and humble guy. Interesting. I have heard of Chris Sewall. Who is Chris Sewall? I've heard of him. I know the name, but I don't know who he is. Scotty Dubs, good morning. Scotty Dubs says, where are we at? My brother made it to the state 3-point contest in Illinois, so I was able to see Joey Range in the slam dunk contest that year. That guy could jump. Man, Galesburg's Joey frickin' Range was a stud. That Silver Streaks team had Joey Range and Rod Thompson. They both went on to play at Iowa. Joey didn't make it at Iowa, went off to, I think, a community college in Kansas. And he's back in Galesburg. Joey is. I saw him a lot. He had a son, JJ, that played sports when I was working in Galesburg. Rod Thompson, I think, graduated at Iowa, and then I think he's in Omaha. I think he's in the insurance industry in Omaha. Or Des Moines or Omaha. I can't remember. Jenny says maybe the holes that need to be filled are the mouths of some Cubs fans. Oh, Flipping Sports Guy says, I'd be amazed if 84 wins gets a wild card spot. That's a very low number. It's not very low. It's pretty low. It's pretty low. But remember, there's 2 wild card spots now. Let's see. Joe says, I wish I could watch back in, and speaking on that, back in 1998, that's when I returned to my baseball fandom. The Cubs, and let me just, I want to get this right. Because I was comparing this year's in my head. I don't think I tweeted it out or anything because I wanted to look at the numbers. I was thinking about comparing the 2023 Cubs to the 1998 Cubs because there was a lot of moves going in. There's a lot of parallels. 97, the Cubs were absolutely awful. I think they started off 0-14 in 1997. They made some signings in 1998. They had some old guys on the roster like Gary Gaetti, Mickey Morandini, Jeff Blauser. And it's, kind of similar when you look at like Eric Hosmer and I guess Bellinger's not that old, but, there's some parallels with the players like that 98 team. It seemed like a ragtag bunch. Like you just kind of threw a roster together. Lance Johnson. I mean, you look at the ages of, and they have Lance Johnson at center field on Baseball Reference at age 34, but he only played 85 games. Brant Brown played a lot, and that's what I remember at the end of the season, Brant Brown in center field making that error. Brown was 27. Sammy was in his age 29 season. Henry Rodriguez, 30. Jose Hernandez was 28. Jeff Blauser, 32. Morandini, 32. Mark Grace was 34. And Scott Service, the catcher, was 31. You also had, Gary Gaetti was on that roster. The bench, you go through some of these bench names for the Cubs in 98. Manny Alexander, Tyler Houston, Kevin Ory, Glenn Allen Hill, Matt Miske, Sandy Martinez, Pedro Valdez, Jason Hardkey, Terrell Lowry, Orlando Merced. It's like, who? But I want to see 1998. Let's see. 1998. We want to look at standings. The only reason I bring up 98 is because I was just looking up this season because I was comparing it. I thought they won the division with 89-90 games. So yeah, so based on the 98 season. So let's see the top teams we would have. The Braves won the East with 106. This is 1998, 106. Astros won 102 games. I don't know if we see two teams in the National League win over 100 games. Even, you look at the West with the Dodgers, Giants, and Padres, but they've got to play each other. So they're gonna be beating each other up. So 98, the National League. Wow. So 106, 102, and 98 were the division winners, and then the next two would have been the Cubs and Giants, 90 and 89 games. So let's look up last year. Let's see. Seasons. And that's what somebody said. That's a bold take. And I said the most, and I agree, because 90 or 84 wins is low. 84 wins for the Cubs, I don't think is that bold. But I think 84 wins getting the second wild card is probably the most bold. So last year, the Dodgers won 111 games. I think that number because the Giants are better this year. The Padres at 89 wins last year. The Dodgers 111. I think the Giants and Padres win more of those games, get more of those wins. The Dodgers win total comes down. The Cardinals won the division with 93. The Braves and Mets both had 101 wins. I think there's just going to be more parity in the National League this year. I totally think 84 wins can get a second wild card in 2023 because I don't think the Braves and Mets win 101 games. The Nationals are probably going to be bad. Marlins had 69 wins last year. Phillies had 87 wins. And the Central, I think the Central is going to be pretty similar. I think the Cardinals are going to win the division. I think the Cubs and Brewers almost switched spots. So last year, Milwaukee had 86 wins. The Cubs had 74 wins. I think the Cubs win less than 86 and the Brewers win more than 74. So I think it's going to be somewhere around like 84 and 78 for the Cubs and Brewers. And then the West, as I mentioned, I think there's going to be a lot more parity in that division where the Dodgers aren't going to win 111 games. I don't think any of the division winners from last year will repeat their wins. I don't think any of the division winners in 2023 in the National League. The Cardinals won 93 games last year. I think that wins. I think the Cardinals match that this year. Maybe it's 92, maybe it's 91. But I think the Cardinals are going to be the closest to their win total from last year. The Dodgers, I don't think, come close to 111 wins. I think they could win 100. But I think the Padres and Giants win totals both come up from 89 and 81 respectively. In the East, the Braves and Mets at 101 wins each. I think one of those teams might get 100 wins. but I don't think either reach 101. That's my thoughts. That's my opinion, and I think 84 could potentially get a wild card. It's gonna be close. But say the Braves and Mets, and you got the Phillies had 87 wins, so 84 wins. From last year, 84 wins would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Would have been the 8th best record in the National League. So it's going to be close. It's going to be close. That number might have to be 88 wins, but I'm sticking to it. It's a bold prediction. 84 wins for the Cubs, which will be enough to get that second wild card spot. Joe Caprino, what's up? I wish I could watch the Cubs games. I hate MLB blackouts. Fortunately, I can watch the Cubs now because they're not playing Milwaukee, so I can watch the Cubs game. By the way, I got a notice yesterday. Speaking of not watching Cubs games, I tried logging in. I tried logging into my Twitter yesterday, and I got a notice that my account was locked. My account was locked, and I'm like, what? What did I tweet? There was like a copyright notice. I'm like, what? What did I tweet? Like, I've been tweeting like pictures of a Sega game and cassette tapes and a tornado video. Like, what did I tweet? And then when I went to my email, and I saw there were a couple tweets. It was from opening day when I had to go pirate and watch an illegal stream, and I tweeted the link out and busted. So don't do that. And I wondered, like, I've had that happen before. I'm like, hey, how can I find this game? And people will DM me, and I'm like, why not? Why don't you just reply to my tweet? Well, now I know, because you'll get your account locked. So now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Don't tweet illegal links. It'll get you locked. But fortunately, I just had to review. It was like a slap on the wrist, and I had to review terms of service. It took me like 30 seconds, and I was back online. Sal Dougie says all fan bases think all their problems are solved by their triple and double A rosters. In 5 years, they will complain about those players too. I know. I think one of the annoying parts is like David Bodie. And David Bodie's like when it's all said and done, David Bodie might be. And I love the David Bodie story. But I think when his career is all said and done, he may go down as like the poster child of a 4A player. He's just really good for AAA, but he's not good enough for the big leagues. And I think the Iowa Cubs at AAA, they've got a lot of those guys. I think the big league roster has a couple of those guys too. But, then it comes down to the business, and it comes down to, options and contracts and all that stuff. That some, guys like Christopher Morel, who are good enough at the big league level, are stuck in Des Moines because they're just kind of squeezed out. But that is all going to shake out. It's April 3rd. We're one series into the season. It's going to be okay. I think the Cubs will make the moves. If Nick Madrigal doesn't hit, he'll get dumped, or I don't know what's going to happen. But Miles Buoni, he'll get sent to Des Moines if he has options. I'm not sure what these guys' options are. It's kind of like Patrick Witt. It's like, well, remember, Seiya Suzuki's out, but he did take some. I think he took some BP down in Mesa yesterday or this weekend. So you'll get Suzuki back, and that fills another spot. And I mean, he's going to be back in like a week, so it's not like we're missing half a season. So who loses their roster spot when Suzuki, and that's another. Now we certainly don't have room. And it's like, who's the odd man out? Is it Patrick Wisdom? Patrick Wisdom goes to Des Moines, he'll hit 50 home runs, and people will be screaming, "How come Patrick Wisdom isn't at Wrigley?" He did hit 2 home runs yesterday. Unfortunately, they were both solo shots and wasn't enough, but hey, 2 home runs. Patrick Wisdom. We love it. Flipping Sports Guy says, don't the Mets usually start good? It's late July on that. You see what they really are. Good morning, Red Light 34. Victor, your box will go out today. Very cool. Dan in the house. What's happening, Dan? Mark says, I'm just happy they have a manager who knows what he's doing and an owner who actually wants to win. Von Hades, I just sold my house in Madison, Maine. Hey, congrats. Johnny Boy Cards, good morning. Happy Monday. Jenny says, have you guys seen the insert set designs for 2023 Big League? One of them looks just like Topps Kids from the 90s. Pretty cool. I love it. I really wanted to, there's like no card shops where I grew up, where I was this weekend. But I want, like, I saw some Big League rips and it's like, man, for like 40 or $50 for a hobby box, I love some of the designs. I was like jonesing to rip a box of Big League. Let's see. And then I thought about stopping at Walmart on the way up. I don't know if retail's out for Big League or not, but it's like, man, I want to rip some of that. I've got a lot of shipping. I ran a 50%. It was kind of a flash weekend sale. I was completely caught up before I left on Friday. It's like, well, you know what? Might as well just, I'm not shipping this weekend. I'm not listing much. I ended up listing quite a bit of singles just from my mom's couch. But it's like, you know what? I'm going to run a 50% off sale. I didn't plan on it until like Friday. It's like, I'm completely caught up. I'm just going to run a freaking 50% off sale. So I've got over 200 things to ship, a lot of which are like 10 plus cards in the transaction. So sold over 1,000 cards. So it was a great sale. Flipping Sports Guy says, so Bo, were you one of the WWE fan rookies who thought both Cody and Sammy KO would win this weekend? Did you just call me a WWE fan rookie? What? I really didn't care. I thought, and here's my thinking, I thought Cody would win. I thought Cody would win because it's like he's at the pinnacle of hot in WWE. And that's what I don't understand when guys get to that peak and then they have them lose. So I don't know what's going to happen with the Cody storyline. You know, is he just going to go to mid-card status and that's it? They're not going to build around Cody. They're going to keep it on Roman. I do like that Roman's had it for what it's been 1,000 days or whatever. I think that's pretty cool. That he's had a title for so long, because I hate when wrestlers have it for like 3 months and it's like there's title changes every other pay-per-view or premium live event. So Sammy KO, I don't even know what match. I didn't watch anything on Sunday. And I had it on Saturday, but I wasn't paying close attention. So I just don't really get into it. I wasn't real. There's not really any storylines that I'm into. Red's going to sweep the Burns from the north side. The bums. Red's going to sweep the bums from the north side. Jenny says, Friday afternoon, we started with having hail, and by Saturday morning, we had a blizzard with over 10 inches of snow. It was wild. Better you than me. Better you than me. Kyle says, ever seen the Dare Echo come through? It seems like people here take the weather warnings more serious. Good morning, Merle. What's happening? I still have to open the package of cards I got. Very nice. John, that 70s card show. What is up? You should be gracious in victory always. Taunting is taunting. That's a good point. They should both be disqualified and Virginia Tech named the champion. And I will say, like Caitlin Clark's, you can't see me. That's a taunt. It's just not as in your face. I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. It was not winning in what do you call that? It was call them poor losers, poor winners. I would say that's, yeah, you're right. Let's see. It's kind of like I don't know what I was trying to aim for. Todd says Clark did the "You Can't See Me" versus Louisville. Then had some other gestures versus South Carolina, but it seemed like Reese was over the top and the refs were absolutely brutal throughout. I agree. Where we at? Dan says, I think the brewing rivalry will be huge for the future WNBA matchups between these two. The WNBA could use some sizzle. Sewell, not Seawall. I've always heard him called Chris Seawall. Oh, sports card collector, investor, dealer. Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. For WNBA, yeah, and what's great for Iowa is Caitlin Clark is back at Iowa next year. She's not even in the she won't be eligible for the WNBA draft. And here's the thing, she'll make a lot more money on NIL deals than she will on any WNBA contract. And in women's basketball, you make more money overseas than you'd make in the WNBA. But Caitlin Clark will make even more money on NIL deals than what she would make overseas or in the WNBA. John says, dude has the most subscribed channel in the hobby and you don't know him. I know him as sports card collector, investor, dealer. I did not know him as Chris Sewell or Sewell. I've never, he may be the most subscribed channel in the hobby. I have never watched one of his videos. So, Caitlin was fun to root for. Hopefully she has the memory of Larry or MJ and uses Reese as motivation to go off for 60 next time they meet. That would be fun. Hall of Fame card collector, I changed the IL from 3 to 5 and then bench from 4 to 5 spots to be able to have everyone be able to have more options to add players throughout the season without dropping key players. John says, Reese leaving Maryland for LSU says all you need to know about her. The NCAA portal has wrecked the sport. It has gotten, the portal has gotten out of control, but it's where we're at these days, I guess. Flipping Sports Guy says it will be interesting to see win totals now that there are less divisional games and everyone plays everyone. Yeah, I think the win totals are going to go down. And I think there's more. I think there's better teams at the top, but there's more, if this makes any sense, better teams at the top. Where looking at the West, the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants, I think are all about equal. I think when it all shakes out, I think there will be more parity in the West, which means, sorry, Arizona, sorry, Colorado. They're probably looking at, 100 lost seasons. Where are we at? Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy says they all get to pad their totals against the Tigers, Royals, A's, and Mariners. Bargain Boxer says, went to the Cubs game on Saturday. Greatest day ever. Ian Happ homers. Sal Dougie says, no way the Cubs finish ahead of the Brewers. Well, guess what? They are. Maybe not today. They might be a game back today. But I think the Cubs win 6 more games than the Brewers this season. 84 wins for the Cubs, 78 for the Milwaukee Brewers. I think once we get out of April and into May, I think Suzuki will be back. I think the hitters will come around. I'm still optimistic on Cody Bellinger and hoping that, he turns he had a rough start, but he's also playing in 40-degree weather. He's a California kid, or at least I think was he from Arizona? I think he's from Arizona. So he's a warm weather kid, and then played in LA his whole career, minus probably some stops in the minors. Tracy, good morning. Hope everyone had a wonderful weekend. My favorite David Bodie album is Let's Dance. Brian M., what's up? If it weren't for AA and AAA, the Rays would have no pitching staff year after year. Bargain Boxer says, my son-in-law couldn't stop saying Cody freaking Bellinger. Victor, cool, thanks. Talking to a red light. Joe says, got a couple boxes of Big League this weekend, and they were really cool. I love Big League, and I was like, I think you're either Big League or opening day. I think that's the way it is in the hobby. You either like opening day and don't like Big League, or you like Big League and don't like opening day. It's kind of like Gypsy Queen and Allen and Ginter. You're either a Ginter guy or a Gypsy Queen. I'm a Ginter guy and I'm a Big League guy. Bodie will always have that walk-off granny on Sunday Night Baseball. And I think that's probably why there's so much like love for David Bodie and like, oh, I can't believe he's in Iowa because, you know, we remember the walk-off granny. And then 2 weeks later, he hit a walk-off extra inning home run in the 10th against Cincinnati on a Friday afternoon. And so we remember those moments, but we forget all of those 0 for 4 days in between, right? Because David Bodie, like, yeah, he has some big moments. I mean, he had some awesome moments his rookie year. But he's got a career, cover your ears for those that hate the term WAR. He's only got a 4.3 career WAR, a 231 career batting average, 311 strikeouts in 1,100 plate appearances, 311 strikeouts to 113 walks. A lot of people are saying, well, Nick Madrigal. I looked at Nick Madrigal and I'm like, well, his stats are better than I thought. I still am not a Nick Madrigal fan. He's got a 2.4 WAR, but he's only played in 144. He hasn't even played a full season. He's played 144 career games, career batting average of 288. And he only has 51 strikeouts in almost 600 plate appearances, 51 strikeouts to 30 walks. So those are some of the stats that I look at. I'm sure you could go dive deeper into the numbers, but those are the numbers that just kind of peek at me. Let's see, where are we at? Mancini, Hosmer, Swanson, and Bellinger in Cubs uniforms were cool. Yeah, I'm a big. I think Mancini is huge for the team. Swanson, the more I looked into his numbers, the more I loved it. The signing of Dansby Swanson, and then the the more hits he put together in this first series. It's like, yeah, awesome. Eric Hosmer, Cody Bellinger, the jury's still out. I'm still holding out hope. You know, I don't think Hosmer is gonna be much, and maybe he's like a DFA. And Matt Mervis comes in. I think Matt Mervis is another 4A player. I think he's going to mash, just like his nickname, Mash Mervis. I think he's going to mash in Iowa, and he's just going to have ho-hum numbers in Chicago. That's my thought. Flipping Sports Guy says, if you believed Sammy, KO, and Cody would win, then yes. I don't even know. I don't know why you're attacking me on my rookie fan. I've been a WWE fan longer than you've been alive, probably. I don't know. How old are you? Sammy KO, I don't know anything about that match. I don't know who wrestled. I'm assuming it was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And doesn't bother me. Cody would win. I thought Cody would win just because of all the hype. Because why do you bring in a guy with all this hype and you put him over to lose at WrestleMania? It doesn't make any sense, but I get it. Roman's had the title for, going on 3 years, I guess. So I get it. What do you think of Braun Breaker? He reminds me of Goldberg. I don't know. I don't have many thoughts on Braun Breaker. I'm not sure. And I haven't watched much of his stuff. I will tell you my thought on Braun Breaker. He should have been a Steiner, but the WWE loves their alliterative names. Let's see. So he could have been. Hey, he could have been Steve Steiner. There, you get your alliterative name, and you keep with the Steiner brothers Steiner gimmick. John says, don't you think Clark should have been named MOP of the tourney? She scored the most points in a tourney ever. Seemed like a no-brainer. Yeah, I guess. Who was named most outstanding player? And see, that's why there's too much emphasis put on winning when it comes to, I think, MOPs or MVPs or whatever you call. I think that should be an individual performance. And I guess you can dive in and you can pick apart the meaning of outstanding or valuable. I guess if it's MOP, and I don't even know what the women's game if they use most outstanding player or most valuable. You can make an argument that most valuable player means the most valuable to their team for winning, where outstanding to me, I would break that down is they were the best player of the tournament, period. And I think that's what it should be. I think it should be an individual. The team has a trophy, and that's the team. The team did it. Most outstanding player, that's an individual. Whether you win or lose, you were the best player on the floor during the tournament. Uncle Rich, good morning to you. Hit that like button. We're doing terrible. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. Sal Dougie says Padres, Dodgers, Giants in that order. Giants by far the worst of those three. I think they're going to be fairly, I would agree the Giants, I wouldn't say by far, but I would say the Giants are the third best of those three. But I think when it comes down to the end of the season, I think the win totals are going to be pretty close. I think they're going to be jumbled up because they're going to they're going to steal wins from each other. Card Hobby is kind of like the Big Ten in college men's basketball. Card Hobbyist, I picked the White Sox to have more wins than the Cubs this year. That is a bad pick. I think the White Sox are going to be really bad this year, unfortunately. And I'm not saying that as a White Sox hater. I actually root for the White Sox in the American League. That's one of my hot takes. I put ketchup on my hot dogs, and I root for the White Sox in the American League. MD Sports Cards, the Cubs are not finishing above 500. Whoa! Would love to see it, but we don't even have an all-star on the team. Seiya Suzuki. Justin Steele is going to be a contender for the National League Cy Young. Dansby Swanson. And the Giants aren't the same as the Dodgers or Padres. I'm not saying they're going to contend for the division, but they're going to be close. They're going to be close. They're going to steal some wins that they didn't have last year. I think the Giants will be, they'll finish third in the NL West. But they won't finish as far back. Do I still have that screen up? Where were they at last year? NL West. They were a 500 team last year. They're going to win. I think the Giants could win 88 games, 86, 88 games, which would probably put my 84 for the Cubs on the outside looking in for that second wild card spot, but a man can dream, right? I think the Dodgers only win 100, down 11 from last year. Padres maybe win 92, couple wins. So I think they're not going to be like jumbled up at 90, 90, 90, but I think there's going to be, the Giants are going to win more games than last year. The Dodgers are going to win less, and the Padres might be around the similar number. But that's the fun. We can say all this, and we don't know. I'm not wrong, but I'm not right either. And you're not wrong, but you're not right either. So that's the fun in our little predicting game. I should maybe next to our Free for All Friday standings, I should put my bold predictions. Let's see where we at. Let's see. Card Hobbyist says Dansby is a very streaky player. Let's see. Bodie has 311 Ks. Tony Gwynn had 434 over a 20-year career. Isn't that amazing? Flipping Sports Guy says, just messing. I know you know better. Sammy and KO went against the Usos. Oh, they were a tag team. I thought they were. See? So many really thought the entire bloodline would lose the belts. I didn't even know that was a match. Let's see. The Cubs need Suzuki back. That lineup is too soft and not enough quality arms in the starting rotation. Oh, totally. Oh, I got to stop you there. The Cubs starting rotation will be among the best in the National League. Justin Steele will lead the way. And there's some weak, Drew Smiley is kind of like, if I had to rank, I would rank Justin Steele number 1. And I'm going to exclude Kyle Hendricks. We don't know. I mean, he's still, I guess I think he threw maybe a live BP yesterday. So all of the rehab stuff was good news. Brandon Hughes is going to be back for the bullpen. Justin Steele is going to be a stud. Hayden Wisniewski, I think, will be really good. Jamison Tyone. I think the Cubs starting rotation is amongst the best in the national. Will be amongst the best in the National League. Maybe I'm just being too Pollyanna this morning, or on the Cubs in general. But I think the Cubs starting, I think they have a bigger weakness in their lineup than in their starting rotation. Maybe even the bullpen. They don't have a lefty out of the bullpen, which is like, what is going on here? But I think the lineup is going to be better than what most people expect. And I think the reason I predict the loss of Wilson Contreras is addition by subtraction is not because we'll be weaker in the lineup at the plate at the catcher position with Yan Gomes and Tucker Barnhart, but defense. And yeah, I know Gomes had 2 passed balls on Saturday, I think, or maybe that was Thursday. But I think how Barnhart and Gomes will handle the pitchers. You don't have to look. I'm going to look for you. We're going to look at Justin Steele. Justin Steele last year. Let's see. Can we do this? Pitcher compare. Is this it? I don't think this is the right. Nope, that's not the right one. Maybe it's under splits. 2022. Okay, this is where I want. By catcher. Justin Steele by catcher. Come on. Baseball Reference always runs slow for me. I know most of my websites run slow, but where's the hell did it go? We want by catcher. Come on. There we go. Oh, it even has by umpire. By catcher, Justin Steele. With Wilson Contreras as his catcher, Justin Steele posted a 3.97 ERA, 72 strikeouts, 42 walks. With Yan Gomes as his catcher, a 1.36 ERA, 54 strikeouts, 8 walks. 54 and 8. Contreras, 72 and 42. Break it down. That's 6.75 strikeouts. Is that per 9? Yeah. With Gomes as his catcher, 1.71 with Contreras. Now, you're going to ask, well, how many innings? So that was 16 games with Contreras as his catcher, 8 games with Yan Gomes as his catcher. So that's still a pretty decent comparison. 79 innings with Contreras, 39 innings with Yan Gomes. But look at 1.36 ERA, 54 strikeouts, 8 walks with Yan Gomes as his catcher. 3.97 ERA with 72 strikeouts, 42 walks with Wilson Contreras as his catcher. Let's go another young pitcher, Keegan Thompson. Let's take a look at his splits. Now Keegan's going to be in the bullpen for the Cubs this year. Let's see, splits for 2022. Keegan Thompson, this was another one. I didn't break down all of them by catcher. Actually, Keegan Thompson had actually more time with Yan Gomes than he did with Wilson Contreras, and it's really close. 13 games with Yan Gomes, 58 innings. 12 games with Wilson Contreras, 42 innings. So this is Keegan Thompson starts with Wilson Contreras as his catcher. 4.68 ERA, 37 strikeouts, 18 walks. Yan Gomes with 16 more innings with Yan Gomes. 3.24 ERA, 58 strikeouts, 18 walks. So he had the same amount of walks with Yan Gomes in 16 more innings and 21 more strikeouts with Yan Gomes as his catcher. So those were just two that really stuck out at me. Let's see. Tyone wasn't there. Smiley? I don't know. Kyle. Let's see Kyle Hendricks. Because he's a pitcher that I haven't looked at on these stats before. Let's see. We want splits 2022. Hopefully Kyle will be back soon. We want by catcher. Let's see. So Kyle Hendricks, Jesus, it's even worse. I thought Kyle Hendricks would have better stats because him and Wilson Contreras, they've actually worked together for several years. So this is 2022 Kyle Hendricks with Wilson Contreras, 9 games, 45 innings. He had 6 games with Jan Gomes, 35 innings, so about 10 inning difference. With Wilson Contreras, Kyle Hendricks posted a 5.96 ERA, 33 strikeouts, 15 walks. With Jan Gomes, 2.83 ERA, 32 strikeouts, 8 walks. Numbers don't lie. So addition by subtraction, look at those numbers. Of the starting pitchers, I think we focus on what Wilson Contreras brought at the plate as a hitter, and we completely ignore what he brought defensively as the catcher and how he handled starting pitchers. Hall of Fame card collector says, I would have Braun beat Roman. Let's see. I'm going to go back to Sal Dougie. I stopped him at the soft rotation. Brewers bullpen is highly suspect and their lineup is squishy too. Brewers 84, Cubs 77. So I'm basically flip-flopping. I think it's going to be Cubs 84, Brewers 78. That's my projection. John says, Bayou Barbie was your MOP. Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy says, for college, the title is most outstanding. So yeah, it doesn't need to be the winner, just the best player in the tournament. Ante Up is my favorite MOP song. That's one of the best rap songs, period. What's up, baseball card curmudgeon? Good morning to you. John says a walk-in freezer has better hot takes than this show today. Come on, man. Take the rose-colored glasses off. No, never. And usually I'm pessimistic about the Cubs. This year I'm not. I'm very bullish on the Bears and Cubs in 2023. So MD Sports Cards, we can talk in October. Flipping Sports Guy says, wow, in Chicago, people will root for both the Sox and Cubs. No. People will not root for the Sox and Cubs. That's why it's my hot take, along with eating ketchup on a hot dog. People in Chicago hate one or the other. I'm not from Chicago. I grew up in Annawan, so I can root for both. But no, it's not a thing. You either love the Cubs and hate the Sox or love the Sox and hate the Cubs. Same in Chicago. It's the same as New York. Yep. You don't root for both, but I do. But I'm also not from Chicago. Flipping Sports Guy says, actually, NYC, you'd get shot for just being there. So bad analogy. I don't think the White Sox will be bad, but I did pick Minnesota to win the AL Central. I think the Sox will be bad. Let's see. Any day the Dodgers lose is a good day. I'll agree with that. They beat the Usos in Saturday's main event. So I think I had that on. I had it on Saturday night, but I wasn't paying attention. There you go. Dan says Bo isn't from Chicago. I'm not from Chicago, so I can eat hot dogs with ketchup. I can say deep dish is my favorite style of Chicago pizza, and I can root for the White Sox. Those are all bad takes in the city of Chicago, but I'm not from Chicago, so I don't give a damn. Steele is a beast. Stroman is good. Oh yeah, I forgot about Marcus Stroman. Shit. Let's see. Tyone is cooked. Wisniewski is the wild card. I like the Cubs bullpen arms. Yeah, Wisniewski is one of those sleepers, just kind of overlooked. Let's see. Hall of Fame card collector says, should you do free shipping to sell $1 to $4 cards faster? 100% yes. You will sell cards faster offering free shipping. It's just part of eBay's. That's the number one thing to do on eBay is to offer free shipping. That gets you higher rank in the search. So if you offer free shipping, you get higher rank in search, which you get higher rank in search. You get more views. More views lead to more sales. My views this weekend were, which I expected because I ran the big sale. But I'm also baseball centric, so I think it's partly to do with opening day, but also the big sale certainly does help. But my impressions, we'll just look at impressions. Let's see. So we'll go back to opening day was on what, March 30th? My March 30 impressions were insane. Let's see if they've updated. I think it takes like 72 hours for them to update, but it's still, I had in one day, March 30th, opening day, and I did not have any sales running. I had 1.3 million impressions on March 30th. Let's look. March 31st, I haven't done these, so this is a live look at eBay impressions. March 31st, I was right there at about 1.3 million, about 100, like 1,000 less impressions. So just under 1.3 million on March 31st. Let's go to Saturday. I hate April Fool's Day. It's like my least, like people try to get cute and make all these jokes, and it's just stupid. I wish we could be done with it. 1.6 million on Saturday on impressions. These are all big increases over the norm for me. And then we'll look at Sunday, April 2nd. My impressions for the day, another 1.6 million. So impressions were good. Where are we at today? It's still early. I expect my numbers to be way down. Mondays are a bad day for me anyway. I'm at 300,000 impressions, but actually that's for 8:30 in the morning. That's pretty good. Let's see. Where are we at? When I switched from 1 ounce standard charge to go free shipping, my impressions, views, and sales took off. There you go. John says, I have a small show, 2 million impressions, 4.4 conversion. So I assume that's over your last 30 days. Let's see. And yeah, the more listings you have, it's going to boost, even if it's like cards that people aren't really searching for, the more volume you're going to get some boost. My 30-day impression is now up to 22.5 million. My sales conversion rate is 7.5%. It actually dipped before my sale. It was down to like 6.9%. It's back up to 7.5. Let's see. Is an impression a view? No. So here's the difference. An impression is basically somebody saw it. So say you bring your app out, and we'll type in Ethan Roberts. What's the latest Ethan Roberts card that's up for sale? So you type in Ethan Roberts. Oh, spelled it wrong. There we go. Fat fingered it. So I'm going to scroll through, and it's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. That's an impression. When you type in a search term and you start scrolling, that's an impression. When it becomes a view is, let's go to the top. There's a numbered card. Alan Ginter, green mini refractor of 99. Ooh, I don't have that. I'm interested. I click on it. That is now a view. So I go in, and I'm going to place a bid on this because I don't have it. Just confirm bid. There you go. And now I am an active bidder on that card. So that's the difference between impressions, is you're scrolling down and it's presented to you. Once somebody clicks on that listing, then it becomes a view. My eBay annual renewal came up on April 1st. I was at 8,900 listings, so I did the upgrade to premium now and forced me to get there quicker before May 1st. There you go. 30 days. I'm also time away for the last 10 days. That really hurts. That does hurt your views and impressions when you put time away on eBay. And it does take a little while to recover. It took me a week to get back to my normal. After I ended my time away when I was at spring training, it took me a week to get back to normal. So it was basically 2 weeks of time away. Now it was like scaling back up. I wasn't suppressed like I was during time away, but I didn't just jump back up into the like I was before. Thank you, Brian. Hit that like button. Flipping Sports Guy says, I'm happy with the scaling. My 30 days is 5.5 million impressions, 8.6 conversion on 8,000 views. 8.6 conversion. That's a really good conversion rate. So what else did I want to talk about? Tornado. We talked about the tornadoes, the antique mall. Did I talk about mom's decor? I don't think so. Card shop, old cards, talked about that, touched on it. Stuff at home. So I think I touched on pretty much everything. I did go to the antique mall. You know what? I think tomorrow I'm going to make that, because I didn't really touch on it today. We're already 90 plus minutes in. So I think tomorrow we'll talk about the antique mall and basically staying in your lane, because I'll give you a sneak peek. There was a lot of stuff. You should have bought the Munson RC can. Yeah, I think it was only $2, because that's one I pulled off, and it's like, oh, this seems like a good deal, but it's a can, and it's not easy to ship. And I didn't even comp it. And that's what I want to talk about is there was a lot of stuff where it's like I should go. They had carts. A lot of it seemed like good prices, but when I stepped outside to get cell reception and comped some of the stuff I was looking at, it was basically at eBay rates. Thurman Munson RC can. So once you take into consideration, I have no idea, but I'm guessing, yeah. So there's one. There's one on eBay for basically $10 shipped. You're gonna have to spend $4 to $5 to ship it. It's gonna have to ship in a box. Fees on top of that are gonna be $1.50. So $6.50. You're down to a net profit of about $3.50 minus your cost of goods sold, $2. You're at $1.50. And you're like, well, you sell $1.50 cards for 40-cent profit. The difference is it's a lot easier to put a card in a card saver in an envelope and toss it in the mailbox. Thurman Munson, I've got to find a box, do that. So it's not just 45 seconds of packing and shipping. So now, and I didn't look at the comps on that. It's not something I want for the collection. Uncle Rich has an ulterior motive. You could have saved it for the 2023 couch holiday party to send it to me. Well, shit. So there you go. But that's a lot of what I looked into was it was the prices were fair. It's not like you walk into an antique mall and it's like, a box of 89 tops is $50, or a pack of, there were some packs at one of the antique malls. It was like $4 a pack for 89 score or something. It's like, or no, it was 91 Upper Deck football. That was like $3 or $4 for a pack. It's like, that's not that. What's that? 36 times 3 is over $100 for a 91 Upper Deck football hobby box. During the peak of the boom, I bought one for 20. So a lot of it was fair priced. But when you start okay, this isn't as simple as a quick listing and put it in an envelope and ship it off. It's, I've got to put it in a box, ship it, and takes a little more time. And so I want to talk about staying in my lane, because there got to be a point as I was walking through the antique mall. It's like, I'm going to go get a cart because I'm going to buy this, and this. I'm going to buy this. And I wouldn't have lost with the time, I would have lost my ass, because it would have taken time. I can't throw these items through a feed scanner. I can't easily ship them in a plain white envelope. So it would have been a big time loss based on the time consumed to list and ship. So I'll go deeper into it and share what some of the items were and where the prices of those items were. So with that, I'm going to take off. I think an hour and 40 minutes of my bad takes are enough for a Monday. So hit the like button if you liked it. Even if you didn't like my hot takes, hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. Hey, become a fan of the Hobby Evolution Facebook page, or a member, or whatever they call it on Facebook. Let's drop that link real quick. We're closing in on 100 members. I think we're at 97. Where's the Hobby Evolution? There we go. Hobby Evolution. We're at 97 members. Let's share this and drop the link. So hit that like button and so go to the Hobby Evolution Facebook group. We've got some great discussion going on. Better takes than mine. Brian's got some Jordans going up at his eBay store. Tony's showing off some pickups at the in Louisville at a local card show. Mark's showing off some packs. I didn't see the 80 Tops packs. That's cool. What else is going on? Todd sharing some numbers, some eBay numbers. Brandon hit 36,000 active listings on eBay. So some of the pictures from the antiquing with mom. So there's the link in the description or in the chat. Hit the Facebook page up. Closing in on 100 members. Thank you, Bank Scott. Have a wonderful Tuesday. Have a wonderful Tuesday tomorrow, and have a wonderful Monday today. We will see you tomorrow, which is Tuesday.